Hey everyone, I'm Petrie.
I'm Chris.
And hey, welcome to another fantastic episode of New School Republic Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. This is episode number...
Well, now you're putting me on the spot.
Oh, don't stop.
Okay, I'm
don't
close.
stop.
Okay, here we go. I think we're about 88 now.
Okay, good. 88. Episode 88. Okay.
See, yeah, I think it's 88. Let me double check. I can look on my server real quick. And this is sad sometimes because like I get in the mode when I'm on the computer here and I don't even pay attention to how many podcasts we've actually had.
Oh my god, we've done so many at this point. A lot of them have been the New School Republic Wrestling Podcasts. You know,
they have them. Yep, this is 88. We're almost at 100, and before we even begin, I just want to say this. We're going to have probably a 5 to 6 hour show for the 100th anniversary.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be. We're going to have guest stars. We're going to have like a walk down memory lane. We're going to do everything. So 100th episode is going to be really off the hook.
We should have a match.
Oh my goodness, a live match. The biggest idiots ever. Well, then again, you know.
Laparca versus Ken Jennings.
Oh my goodness. Well, a lot's happened apparently in the past. We've been off for about 2 weeks now just because of health reasons and things like that.
Right.
And a lot's happened apparently.
I guess we're going to do another This Week in Wrestling.
Yeah, essentially. Just because I think there's just a lot to talk about to a degree. Like, we don't like to do a whole bunch of, like, topics at once. I've seen other podcasts that do literally, like, 30 things on one podcast, and I'm like, I couldn't pay attention that long.
No.
So we usually keep it down to about 1 or 3 things. But first thing on the topic of discussion is Triple H meeting with NWA President Burce Tharpe.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. It's kind of surreal. It's kind of odd. It's like that, you know, it's like that relationship they used to have back in the 60s and 70s, the NWA and the WWF. We're kind of like regaining that. I feel like Triple H is definitely like opening relationships with people that normally wouldn't have relationships with the WWE.
But you hated it when he opened up the door for Bruno.
I know. I didn't like that.
Oh, I guess you were just more upset that Bruno took the deal.
Yeah, because I was listening to him complain for 20 plus years about how he hated McMahon and the WWE was full of drugs and they were just an awful company. Then he just all of a sudden takes a payday and that's it. So to me, it's like, well, you're either one way or another. And the same thing with Bret Hart, too. And all that nonsense or whatever. Yeah. And there was definitely work anyway. But you just get sick of listening to that, too. Like, you just get sick of the complaining. But with the NWA, which they're always under the radar, I always question their...
God, yeah, they always have been.
I always question their efforts, and I don't think it's not a high effort, or you could even say I don't know. I just always think they're just complacent and content with just not being around the mainstream media anymore. They're just kind of there. We did that whole podcast, and it was mass confusion trying to figure out who was a champion, how many territories there were. And even from that podcast, it's dwindled, and it's always changing, and it's very confusing. So with Burce Tharpe taking hold of it, it's interesting, but once again, they're just going nowhere.
The 7 Levels of Hate movie, the documentary, prime example. They don't know what the hell they were doing. It went from owner to owner halfway through that movie.
Oh yeah, totally. And you could just see the frustration on everybody's face because like that was a feud that was great. It was something new and it was innovative, and they were finally getting the NWA kind of like in the limelight again. And the NWA just squashed that whole idea.
Yeah, they did.
And now
they really did for no reason.
They really did. Yeah, it was horrible. And you could just see how outdated they are and how behind the times they are to a degree. So it's just stuff like that. It just makes you wonder. But I mean, Burce Tharpe took over, and now Rob Conway's the champion, which is fine. But once again, not even like a syndicated or like a Netflix TV kind of deal with all the NWA. It's just like local television or internet shows, and that's about it. And I think that's all it's ever going to be until someone really steps up.
Like, hey, we're going to highlight our champion this week.
Yeah, it's just the same stuff. And they do have a working relationship with New Japan, which is great. But at the same point, they're never on television. Whatever. On like a... Even they were on that Colors Network for a while, but even then, like it's just they never get to the point where they're like a like where TNA was, or like they're kind of stepping out not even Global Force, but like Lucha Underground and other companies. Like they just like even Ring of Honor too. They never take that next step. They're just always kind of complacent, content with what they are. But now they're talking with Triple H and the WWE, and there's 2 thoughts and theories I think in this. I think the first one is, are they just going after the Paul Bosch library, which is true. They might be.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that would make the most sense. But that would make their whole NBA Classics on Demand just go in the toilet. It might be in the toilet anyway. I don't really know. I don't pay for it. But, I mean, it's a cool...
No, I pay for it.
Have you? Okay.
Who do you think pays for that?
Well, it's great. NBA Classics on Demand, you pay for that?
Well, you're talking about the network?
No, this is different. This is their.
Oh, I thought you were talking
This
about
is
the
like
network.
the NWA's online version of like the network kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
All it is really the Paul Bosch library, and that's it. So there's nothing else really to it, and it's cool and it's decent, but
It was, well, still, if you think about it, that's still a great service to have your
It is.
wrestling on. Remember the rumor was that ROH was going to be a part of the network?
yeah.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Why not?
Well, everybody wants to work with WWE, but it goes back to the fact of like, why even have? I mean, it's good to have working relationships, but if you're going to sell the whole library, then that kind of sticks it to the. It sticks to building an audience to the NWA brand to a degree because, like, you have the whole library, which is great and it's fun to watch and brings back a lot of wonderful memories. But you're not going to build on that. Maybe have like another videotape library available that you'll buy up, and that'll be another part of the classics on demand. It just seems like, well, we'll sell out and that's it. Mm-hmm. That could be one theory. Another theory is that they might have an opening relationship with like talent exchange wise with like NXT or something like that, which I think would help them. It's helped evolve, I think, to a degree.
Yeah.
I think everybody working with each other is great, but here's the problem. If it becomes where a situation where it's already kind of happening anyway with Ring of Honor and NXT, where like WWE wants it all, they take over like buildings, they don't want the other competitors taking over that building, and they won't allow them to come back or type of thing, whatever those deals they work out. Where you know how they have like they go to a building, and then like only they're allowed to run that building, and that's it.
Right.
So we're seeing that again too. I've read articles about that as well. So I mean that could be another theory too, that they're gonna have an open working relationship with them, which I think would be cool.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean I'm not a fan of NXT. I watched it. I just don't get into it. To me, it's like if you're gonna put that much effort, you should have did it with ECW and done it right. Instead of this, I mean, why?
Well, I think Triple H wasn't running the
Yeah,
show
of course.
back then.
He was off being, running after the title and, being the main guy almost to a degree.
Burying everyone.
But I mean, that's cool, whatever. But I think right now, I mean, he's definitely done something with it. And it's going to be interesting to see what the draft's going to bring with all that. I don't know how that's all going to work out, but we'll wait to see how that all unfolds. But one thing I wanted to mention, and it's related to NXT, but Bobby Roode kind of got the shaft with his debut, huh? Like he never really.
Yeah, he never got like the big kind of like minus that one shot of him at Takeover Dallas.
Yeah, I saw that online, like a picture of him in the background.
Yeah,
and that's great, but like once again, see, it's
he
like
never got anything like Joe or Balor or Nakamura or Young.
Unless it's going to happen soon, but I mean, it just seems like that's kind of past. I don't know why he's such a great wrestler. That's the person you don't do that to.
Unless, I don't know, maybe we're just going to season him a little bit. Mm-hmm. Then they're just going to bring him straight up to the main roster. Who knows?
He could be involved in the whole draft thing, too, which is great.
Yeah.
There's a guy I put the NWA title on, speaking of. There's a perfect guy.
Really?
Perfect guy to carry the NWA. I mean, Rob Conway's cool, but the time's kind of come and gone. I feel like Robert Roode, definitely a person.
Oh my God, guys, who are we going to put the NWA title on? Conway!
I know. That's what we kind of got. I mean, that's just... Yeah. Adam Pearce and Cole Cabana were great, and then you go to Rob Conway, which is okay, but you can just see how like those two guys were just done with that whole organization, and then you just get this guy to kind of fill in. To me, if you want to rebuild a brand, there's a great guy to build it around.
Of course,
but I think the NWA Classics, I really think if they're going to sell the library, that really it just hurts once again. NWA coming back, it hurts them to rebuild themselves. It just hurts. I don't think it helps. It helps Bruce Tharpe make a whole bunch of money, and probably for the company too, and having that working relationship. I'm sure they'll get more out of that than selling the library, but I mean, I if I was Bruce Tharpe, I wouldn't sell the library. I'd try to get other libraries to start building up the company again, but it's hard to fight the giant. WWE has become the giant. So
you really got to find like the smaller companies. You got to find like the ICWs, the MCWs,
Mm-hmm.
I know there's another company. Oh, even Code Red.
Yeah, good old Code Red here locally.
Red. $5 and you get you 2 links to a YouTube channel.
Oh my goodness. Well,
it's so awesome though. I mean,
you can see Evolve in their working relationship. That seems to be helping too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I mean, they definitely have the handle on that. But here's what's interesting too: the High Spots, they have their own network too.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, which is cool.
I forget who it is. It's like a whole bunch of I think it's like Shimmer and CCW.
Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's on there too.
Yeah.
So that's cool. They have like their own network, but I don't want to see them. I think it's great to have other on-demand services or online services with other companies. I think for High Spots to do one. I think for the NWA to do one. I think for WWE to do one's fine. But
I think Apple needs to get off their ass, and I think they need to start making those more accessible.
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah, because some of those things are hard to get a hold of. I mean,
Right.
it's just, I don't know if they're...
I want to watch that on my PlayStation. I want to watch that on my Apple TV. I want to watch that on my NX when that comes out.
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, marketing and brand recognition. It's something that nobody seems to be able to do except the WWE.
Yeah.
But it seems like common sense to me. Like,
WWE doesn't go 100% in on it.
yeah, I mean, marketing's a big thing. And if you can't get your handle on that, then what's the point?
Right, no, right. I mean, like, there are so many avenues to get... To be streaming in people's homes now. Streaming isn't just like, that weird little thing that, Netflix used to do.
Yeah.
Now it's like, they don't send DVDs to your house anymore, really.
No.
So, I mean, it's probably like 95% streaming. A lot of people stream now. A lot of people have... Like, a lot of people don't have the best internet, but like a lot of people have like decent internet, and they want those options.
Yeah, I know, and I think a lot of companies are failing with that.
Yeah.
No one's capitalized on Netflix yet. None of the wrestling companies.
No.
I thought Global Force would try to do that, and that would be like their saving grace.
Yeah. The only net thing that like Netflix has is that is Glow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna bring back Glow.
And that's cool. And there's that Women's of Wrestling, too. That's like a whole online thing now, too.
Really?
You remember that? The Ladies of Wrestling or whatever that was? It was on like 2000. It's back.
Oh, that? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's some options. I mean, there's definitely other companies out there, and some are just surviving on an online basis, which is cool, too. But we'll see how the NWA relationship will unfold with the WWE. I think they're definitely keeping some options open. And if they do sell the library, I mean, it's going to help them financially, the NWA, but... It's not really helping build a brand. No. So, we'll go from there, and we'll see how it unfolds in maybe 12 months. But another fun story has developed as well. Jerry the King Lawler has been suspended for a domestic abuse situation. What a surprise.
Sleaze bag.
Well, there's no surprise there. Him and his fiancée got in a brawl, and the police decided to arrest them because they couldn't figure out who...
Fiancé. Let's talk about the fiancé for a second. Okay.
27-year-old.
How old is he?
66.
He is almost 3 times older than she is. If my math is right. At least half.
At least.
Or double. It's double.
It's a little disgusting, I think.
It's incredibly disgusting. He's such a pervy, dirty old man.
And to me, like, the key word here is released. Or, I'm sorry, suspended compared to the released.
Right, yeah.
Anybody else would be released, that'd be it, they'd be gone.
Adam Rose.
Yep.
That was a month ago.
I know. Anybody else would be like released, gone, that's it. He's just suspended.
Yeah, I thought there was a zero tolerance policy on this.
Well, this is where...
You fired him how many times before? You can't fire him now?
This is where it all gets wishy-washy with this company and their policies and things. I definitely want to do a podcast, too, coming up about their whole drug policy and procedure, because I have a lot of questions for that.
Right.
But anyway, back to Lawler. Him and his girlfriend were arrested for domestic violence. She's 27, Laura McBride. The police responded to them in East Memphis last Thursday. Once they got there, essentially, they couldn't figure out who was the aggressor. The first starting aggressor in the fights. They arrested both of them.
Okay.
So
that explains a lot.
Apparently there was like pushing, shoving, scratching, and a gun was involved as well. So
well, it went from like a little like brotherly tussle to like bringing a gun into the situation.
Now
someone could have died over this.
I know it's dangerous, and who knows what actually was going on? Maybe they were drinking too. Who knows?
Oh.
But, I mean, stuff like this is just nonsense. And then he explains, Lawler says, we got a little bit out in a shouting match, and then she wanted to leave, he said. I was not going to let her leave in the car because she was not in any condition to drive. So apparently alcohol was involved, like I just suspected.
Yeah.
She got more and more upset. She called 911, scratched my face in the process. The police came in and said that this was a domestic dispute, and they were going to have to take both of us downtown. He said it's just an unfortunate situation. Nobody was hit and nobody was hurt. It's just something that happened as a result of drinking too much. There it is.
Yeah.
Once again, alcohol plays a dirty role in some of this stuff.
And I'm sure. Yeah, like, you're 66 years old. You're not Ric Flair. You handle your liquor.
I know.
Yeah,
this was brought to you by WMC Action News 5, and the writer of the article was... Rajgiri. So good luck finding that guy or whatever. Anyway, so I mean, it's a domestic dispute. It's alcohol. It's professional wrestling. It's just it's like one of those things that doesn't need to happen.
No, they definitely could have. We could be talking about something more positive about this.
I know. Well, it's just stupid.
We could have been ragging on TNA again.
I know. There's more of those coming, I'm sure. But with Lawler, it's like, just get your act together. Quit being an idiot.
Yeah.
Quit acting like a 20-year-old. I know.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Find a nice woman your age.
Yeah, like
first of all.
Yeah, 55-year-old or something. I mean, this is ridiculous. You're dating you're essentially like a pedophile.
Yes.
And you're dating a girl that's
who could be your granddaughter.
Yeah, your granddaughter. He's 27-year-old. It's disgusting. So I mean, I guess old habits die hard for the king, but it's just embarrassing, and he should be fired. I mean, I think enough's enough.
Too. Yeah.
I think Flair was fired for his drinking incident, and so was Jim Ross for that.
It wasn't even drinking that night.
I know. How many times these guys either come and go? That just amazes me. But I guess if you're a star, you can do that or do whatever you want anymore.
Right.
But
ridiculous.
I understand some situations have to be handled differently than others, but to me, it's like this is like one of their main announcers. It's the king.
Yeah.
He's a star, and I understand that. But
he's been there for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. But he's also just immature and an idiot, and apparently a raging drinker as well. So, and this is what you get when you date 27-year-olds. So
yes, when you're 66.
Stupid is as stupid does, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? One thing I just something always did not sit right with me with Jerry Lawler, and mainly because he was remember what he was like in the 90s. He was just this abrasive dickhead, and if you were to spin that around the other way, it's like, oh, how dare you? And it seemed like he always went crying to Vince over something. Then he had a change of heart. Then he became Saint Jerry the Pious. I was what is your problem? What is your malfunction?
I mean, Jerry Lawler's WWE career pretty much sucked. I mean, besides on the microphone, that's about it. I can't remember, honestly, a memorable Jerry Lawler match that actually meant anything.
No.
Think about it. Was there anything?
Kaufman.
Yeah.
That's Kaufman.
That was the 80s or,
late 70s.
Yeah. Pre-WWE, though. I mean, I don't remember a match that was good that he ever had in WWE. I can't. They're always
the Rumbles he was in, probably.
He sucked in them, too. I mean, anything. If you look back at the whole history of Jerry Lawler in WWE, in the ring, nothing. I mean, he was just there, he's collecting paycheck, doing the announcing, that's fine. And he was at the end of his career anyway. But, I mean, it was always just
he still wrestled. He wrestled WrestleMania,
I know.
4 years ago.
But the matches were always garbage, and it was always some kind of stupid gimmick or something ridiculous. Yeah. So, oh well.
Woohoo, puppies!
I know.
Oh my... Oh, just get off my TV.
I know.
Get off my TV.
Time to go away.
Honestly. Oof.
Well, we also have another unfortunate event. Gypsy Joe passed away recently.
That is very sad.
It is.
Because he is, beloved by many.
Not Marty Jannetty, but many.
No, or New Jack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was, when you think about it, the innovator of hardcore. He was definitely one of the founding fathers, you could say.
Right.
When it was kind of awkward and weird, but interesting... back in the 80s, no one was really doing that. I mean, they were once in a while. I mean, we're getting to that with the barbed wire and the NWA and some stuff in Memphis, but nothing like what Gypsy Joe would do.
No, yeah, he took it to another level. He was willing to take it to another level.
He was like the Bruiser Brody, Abdul the Butcher kind of guy, and he would do those things. So he was definitely an innovator. And from what I was reading, it just seemed like he had more of a local wrestling type of career, and then all of a sudden, once the 80s came and all that, he kind of vanished from the scene and went to All Japan.
I just heard this on the Art of Wrestling 3 months ago that I forget who it was. I don't even want to look it up, but someone told this story about some guy went to go work over in Japan and he was working Gypsy Joe. It's he's 60, you better take it easy with him. Meanwhile, when he went out to the ring and started working with him, Gypsy Joe just whipped his ass.
Wow. And
it was a rib, though. It was a rib.
Yeah. But it almost looks like he looks like Paraguayo, but half the size.
Meeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would never think Gypsy Joe would be like that.
Wow, I can't believe he just said he's like Paraguayo, but meeker.
Yeah.
Imagine someone who's less tougher than Paraguayo.
He's he has a Paraguayo look though. It's he has Paraguayo's look, but he's not. He's just half
not Paraguayo.
Yeah. Obviously, but yeah, he's just he's just half the size, and you wouldn't think anything of it. I mean.
No, yeah.
You see the guy, but then when he starts going at it, it's whoa, a total difference.
To be fair, he did do as much as he could with New Jack. Mm-hmm. New Jack just beat the tar out of him. I tried to keep in this PG. He beat the tar out of him, but Joe was so he was gonna have to kill Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see that match. I've never seen it before, but
it's bad.
Is that a YouTube sensation?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was. New Jack almost kills a 75-year-old man. Oh yeah, yeah, it was.
You never know what's going to happen at like an independent wrestling event. You know, anything
no.
goes pretty much.
Right. What did I see at the last indie show I was at? Code Red.
Oh man.
There was a cool standoff at the end, but nothing really happened.
Yeah, I mean
that's all right though.
The last show we were at I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah, their May show, you couldn't wait to get out of there. The June show was pretty good.
That's good.
I like to talk about Code Red.
Yeah, okay.
I really would.
We could do a podcast.
I would love to hit like the good, the bad, the ugly of Code Red.
It's evolving, but I just think they have a long way to go before they can really
long way to go.
Yeah, before they can really capture a crowd.
But they're doing a lot of good. I would like to talk about that next for like half an hour.
We could.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
If you're good, maybe.
If we're good, okay.
Well, rest in peace. I was going to say Paraguay, but no, sorry. Gypsy Joe.
Thank you, Gypsy Joe, for your contributions to our wonderful sport.
Yeah.
You know what? You are going to be missed. A lot of people had a lot of respect for you. It was almost like you had a legacy like Tracy Smothers or George South, it seems like.
Yeah, like one of the ones that's not necessarily mainstream, but he definitely put his mark in the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone who's respected by the guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Chris.
Hey, I'm Petrie. Thank you for listening. Hey, don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Where at, Chris?
If you go on Facebook and type in New School Republic, you can also go to the New School Republic Wrestling Podcast. You can join our group too, the New School Republic Pro Wrestling Podcast group. And you can also check us out on www.newschoolrepublic.com. And certainly last but not least, check us out on YouTube. Just type in New School Republic, and there's a whole bunch of podcasts that come up.
Hey, man, that sounds fantastic.